UFC London just finished up, but today I'm going to be giving you my thoughts and reaction on this card, telling you what I think on each and every fight. Let's get right to it. Guram Kutaladze, whatever his name is, and Cal Fernandez. I thought Guram had a solid chance of winning this fight, especially how he beat Vucenic. I thought this kind of proved how good he was, and he had, I believe, Ilia Topuria, I guess both Topuria brothers, and he had Hamza Chimaev in his corner. He couldn't land a good takedown, and he was getting crossed up in the feet. I just don't think that it seemed like every single time he was getting close range to Fernandez, he was kind of like struggling to just throw a little more. I think he just needed to get a little bit more comfortable with getting hit, and just accept the fact that the only way he'll hit Fernandez is that if he committed with going inside and fighting in short distance. It seems like every single time he'll close that range, he'll just kind of look, pose, and then try to convince himself to start throwing. That being said, I think Guram, I was disappointed with him. Fernandez had a good fight, but I think Guram, like, he's kind of falling down from here. He beat Vucenic in his last fight, and I thought Vucenic looked good up until this fight. I'm gonna get to that later, but still, Guram, you trained with Hamza, and you had the Topuria bros in your corner. This is just unacceptable how you lost in this fight. On to the next fight, Nathan Fletcher versus Kualan Logran, whatever your name is. I think both fighters look decent. They both fought each other when they were both amateurs, but Nathan Fletcher, he kind of started off slow. He built up in the second round and took Kualan's back, but you know, Logran, whatever your name is, I cannot pronounce names right now, especially with this Pauling going around. These fighters both look decent. And I mean, it was a toss-up. I thought, honestly, Nathan Fletcher arguably stole the round at the end, because he was landing all the more damaging shots in the third round after Logran kind of was dominating, or was at least controlling the third round. It seemed like he lost control in the last minute and was getting rocked a lot by Nathan Fletcher. So I would have given it to Nathan Fletcher, but that being said, both fighters didn't look the best. On to the next fight. Shuam Bannon versus Puja Tomar. I think I just don't understand how a fighter, women's MMA is just so trash. Like Shuana, whatever her name is, she was just like jumping and throwing some lead kicks, and like Puja Tomar, all she had to do was just commit a little more or try. I think it was her not being as elusive. She was landing good shots, and actually after she knocked down Shuana, she kind of got herself into an armbar, and I thought she managed to escape it, but for whatever reason she decided to sit back down. I think it was because she was getting tired from trying to pose up, and Shuana wasn't allowing her to free her arm, so maybe her back got tired and she decided to rest a little and sit down. That ultimately gave Shuana the ability to lock the arm bar. But yeah, what can we say about women's MMA? I took a little break after that fight, so I'm gonna switch all the way to, I watched Ty Herbert and Chris Padilla, but I was busy doing some stuff, so I'm gonna just switch all the way to Nathaniel Wood versus Morgan Sherry, or whatever your name is, or should I say XXX Tentacion. Yeah, I mean, this fight was alright. I'm gonna skip this fight too, actually. I didn't even thought this fight wasn't the best. So I made some shorts about this, but Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. So I was impressed with the way Jordan Vucenic kind of started off his fight against Guram, and if it wasn't for him jumping in short notice, I think he would have had the energy to win his last fight. And on top of that, his corner was trash. Like, they convinced him in his last fight that he was winning. He had won the first round or the second round against Guram, and basically he allowed himself to throw away the third round. This fight, He comes out pretty confident, and he was a big favorite, I believe. Let me see if it still shows you. Yeah, he was a minus 345 favorite. I mean, I think everyone was impressed with how good his skill was in the beginning of, or at least in the first fight. And he came in with a full training camp. He came in a little too confident, allowed himself to get rocked by Chris Duncan. After that, Chris Duncan kind of took all that round and laid on top of Jordan Vucenic. I think near the end of the first round, Jordan Vucenic knew that he wasn't going to get that round back, so he allowed himself to kind of throw away the first round. The second round, he was getting the better of Chris Duncan in the feet, and I think he even rocked him. I think he even rocked Chris Duncan, and then for whatever reason, there was 2 occasions when he decided to go for a takedown. The first takedown was arguably one of the worst takedowns I've ever saw. He literally didn't set it up. He just shot like 4 or 5 steps back from Chris Duncan, and then he managed to get it to the feet again, which was the best possible thing that could have happened to Jordan Vucenic. And he went for another takedown after he had rocked Chris Duncan, and Chris Duncan went for the guillotine and ultimately submitted him. So I think now we have to start questioning Jordan Vucenic's fight IQ. Like, this dude makes dumb decisions. It was kind of his decision to listen to his corner and throw away the third round against Guram, a fight that he could have won. And then it was his decision to keep going for takedowns when he was getting the better of Chris Duncan in the feet. I know he had gotten rocked, but the second round, overall, he looked like the better striker. So, 2 fights in a row that he lost. And yeah, what can you say about that? I mean, now if you lose one more fight, you're basically going to get cut from the UFC, or you have a good chance of getting cut. But he has all the makings to be a star. He has a pretty good style, and I think he still does look good in the feet. And he has the tattoo, or the, I guess you could say, bad boy look that the UFC kind of looks for. But we'll see what's going to happen to him. Chris Duncan, he looked good. He looked good in his contenders fight. I think I saw him in his contendership fight. But I definitely wasn't expecting him to win. And I would give him more to how dumb how dumb Jordan Vucenic was, more than how good Chris Duncan was. So that's just my view on this fight. Next fight, Molly McCann. She was she even favorite in this fight? It doesn't tell me, but Molly McCann retired after this fight. I believe I heard from MMA Guru that she has her own cafe now, or a couple businesses. So I could kind of see that she wasn't all in, and she wasn't as active as what she was at one point. I mean, maybe she was waiting for a London card, but she said it herself. This opponent stepped in a couple, I think 2 weeks notice, and she still got demolished. So Molly McCann, the fact that she started walking around with the UFC title just makes how her career ended up even worse. But she knew she was over the hill. She kind of knew that she wasn't in love with this game anymore, especially with, I guess, how successful her business are going. There's not much to say about this fight. Alexa Tainara, she looks okay, but Molly McCann, she really was trash at the end of her career. So let's move forward to our next fight. Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland. I think it's crazy to think that everyone thought Gunnar Nelson was compatible to Damian Maia in their jiu-jitsu skills. When I got into this sport, I started hearing everyone talk up this Gunnar Nelson guy, and I remember everyone was going crazy, expecting a crazy grappling match against Gunnar Nelson and Damian Maia. This dude's losing to Kevin Holland. I know he was on top of Kevin Holland for a lot of this fight, but he couldn't get past his guard. I know Kevin Holland has really big legs, but we saw what Hamza Chimaev did to Kevin Holland pretty fast. So, and we saw what Renier de Ridder did to him. Gunnar Nelson, I don't think he has been taking his career seriously, and I think Kevin Holland also is someone who doesn't take his career seriously. But if he stays at 170, he has basically all what it takes to do well in this division, and potentially even make a run for the title. He just has to work on his ground game a little bit more. but we know he's not gonna do that. He says he has no intentions to fight for the title. I wonder if that's gonna change if he sees a run of success. But he's gonna fight in a couple months. He's not gonna pay attention to his opponent, and he potentially can fight someone that's even better than Gunnar Nelson. So, yep. This fight, honestly, every time Kevin Holland fights now, I'm not really like looking forward to it, because if you guys watch Chael Sonnen's videos, he always says, "Why are we here? Why are we watching Kevin Holland fight? It's literally for him just to watch. It's literally for him just to catch a payday." So I'm not really interested in this fight anymore. It was an entertaining fight. Honestly, it was one of the better fights of the night. But he fights for no reason. He just fights for checks, and he says it himself. So I want to see people trying to move on in the division and have some stakes in the game. You know, I don't want to see people just show up for a check. Next fight, Jan Blachowicz versus Carlos Ulberg. I had Jan Blachowicz winning, and I put this fight on my TikTok. A lot of people are saying, or I had a couple people that say that they had Carlos Ulberg pretty clearly winning, but every single round I thought Jan Blachowicz landed the more damaging shots. Both of them didn't land anything too significant, but Carlos Ulberg landed no medium strikes. If we're gonna take the Weasel's, I guess you could say, shot selection criteria, Jan Blachowicz landed some medium shots. Carlos Ulberg literally just played tap or sparring show. Like, he was literally sparring, just tapping Jan Blachowicz's legs. Like, this dude wasn't fighting with ill intention. It's like he copied Israel Adesanya's game plan when he was a champion, which was just stay on the outside and throw a couple useless jabs and a couple of leg kicks. So the worst part is that Jan Blachowicz is 42 years old now. There's no possible way that he can make it for a title. I won't be surprised if he retires after this. But he arguably could have beat Pereira. He arguably could have beat Ankalaev. And I think he arguably could have beat Carlos Ulberg. So his career is going a little underrated, especially with this Ankalaev win, and with and how bad the Glover Teixeira wins on his, how bad the Glover Teixeira loss looks on his record. But Jan Blachowicz is a legend, and I just hate that Carlos Ulberg is gonna basically make it to the title with this type of fighting style that no one likes. Like, dude, you're a light heavyweight. You have to throw. People don't like seeing Israel Adesanya's fighting style, especially when he was in his championship run, which is literally just fight not to lose. So, what can you say about that? Last fight, Leon Edwards versus Shia. This fucking pollen, dude. I swear this shit's killing my. I can barely breathe right now. Leon Edwards against Sean Brady. I had Sean Brady winning. I knew that Leon Edwards was not going to be able to sustain the pressure to Sean Brady. We just have to ask ourselves, how bad was Sean Brady against Bilal Muhammad now? I mean, he's basically leaving all the fighters that Bilal Muhammad beat to get to the title. He's leaving them in the dust pile. Like, he's leaving them in the dust pile. Sean Brady has supreme pressure. I would even say his pressure is better than what Prime Covington was, and with a submission threat. So Leon Edwards, I think he's washed now after this fight. He's not gonna make it back to the title. He has to fight. I mean, who would he fight after this? I would potentially give him Wonder Boy, maybe, or I don't know who I would give Leon Edwards, to be honest. Maybe I'll give him Ian Gary, to be honest, because Ian Gary's also coming from a loss. But I'll also give Ian Gary to Sean Brady. So there's not much to say about this fight, because I feel like everyone knew what was gonna happen. Leon Edwards didn't really show much. He doesn't have this anti-wrestling threat that we all thought he had with beating Covington and Kamaru Usman. I think both fighters, when Leon Edwards had fought them, they were kind of over the hill. Sean Brady literally did what he wanted with Edwards. And on top of that, the fact that both of Covington and Kamaru Usman, they don't have a submission threat. So Sean Brady, I think he's just a new generation. And I would say he needs one more fight before he gets to the title. And yeah, if I was the UFC, I would give Sean Brady either Ian Gary or Shavkat Rakhmonov or whatever. For some reason I can't remember these fighters' names when I'm making videos. But yeah. Anyways, that's my total reaction to this card. Tell me what you guys think. If you guys like my analysis, follow me on TikTok and subscribe and comment on what you guys think about my videos, please. We're up to 38 subscribers. So anyways, guys, peace. Pumpkin Pigs out.